Well, hello. Thank you for tuning in to Mental Shift. My name is Michelle Moras, and if you didn't watch the intro, I am an international speaker, author, trainer of speakers, and a communications coach. I also have this podcast by chance. Thank you for joining us. And if you're looking around and doing, how in the world did I get a hold of this? How did I find this woman? You're lucky, because today I have a friend of mine with me. His name is David Pisarra. I met him very oddly at a breakthrough business boot camp, very on accident. He's just an awesome guy. He is a recovering lawyer. And what I want you to write down right now is how to find him, because once we start talking, you're like, holy smokes, if I don't need him, I know people who need him. So he's got a podcast and a website by the same name. Write it down. The Legal Mastermind. .com. So if you want to write him, it's David at thelegalmastermind.com. He makes it nice and simple, unlike most lawyers. So he must be quite recovered. So welcome, David.
Hey, Michelle, it's great to see you.
Oh, I love that we get to go on Zoom and I can share you with my audience, and they get to know a little bit more about the Legal Mastermind.
Well, I'm really excited to be here because I remember talking to you about starting your podcast.
Yes.
Really exciting to be on it.
I remember saying, David, how do I do this again?
Yeah, well, you know.
So the Legal Mastermind, please, fill us in. What is the Legal Mastermind? I know you put out a lot of really amazing articles through LinkedIn and on Facebook, but what is the Legal Mastermind?
So Napoleon Hill, back in 1937, wrote a book called Think and Grow Rich. Mm-hmm. And the concept in that book was a mastermind group. And it's 2 to maybe 15 people who are coming together to each share what their business is and to help each other grow. A new spin on an old concept, you know, whether it was an elders council or a tribe, whatever it was, people would always come together and they would talk and they would help each other. And it's that same thing. So Napoleon Hill kind of popped in 1937. Think and Grow Rich is probably one of the most read business books of all time, if not the most read. So I looked at it like, this is a great idea. Lawyers that I know are all struggling, particularly with their marketing and their advertising and trying to get heard through the incredible amount of noise in today's world with podcasts and YouTube videos, and then there's pop-up ads, and then there's banner ads, and then there's those click things, and then there's websites, and then there's it's like, help. None of which are we ever taught in law school. So you get out of law school, you know nothing. You know nothing about running a business. So after 20 years, I'm sitting around and I'm thinking to myself, what do I want to do? How can I help other people? And I wanted to pivot my career. So I'm pivoting into helping other lawyers build their business and help them understand what marketing and advertising is. And the way I'm choosing to do that is with the mastermind group. So we have an online mastermind on Tuesdays at 2 p.m. And everybody's invited to attend.
Pacific time.
That's 2 p.m. Pacific time.
Okay.
So lawyers are all invited to come in and participate. And each week we go over some topic and have sort of a little chit chat about what's going on in their world. And the concept is we're going to build a community of lawyers that are helping each other learn and grow about marketing their businesses so that they become happier and more successful.
Okay. In other words, life for people who've been in another bubble, in a lawyer bubble.
It absolutely, because anybody who's actually worked in a law firm, hired a lawyer, been a lawyer, you know that you get in this like slipstream of just stress and anxiety and deadlines, and all of a sudden you're so focused on one thing that you can't see outside the lane. You need an outside perspective to see what's going on. Mm-hmm. And that's what happens when you bring 2 or 3 lawyers together. It's like, oh, I can see what's happening with you, and you can see what's happening with me, but I can't see what's happening with me.
Oh, okay. That's awesome with the mentorship. It's a self-contained mentorship in this mastermind. Now, how would people get a hold of you when they do? Do they go to thelegalmastermind.com and then there's a schedule and things like that they can get to you?
There is. They can go to thelegalmastermind.com and they can check in. We have online courses. We have books. We have the podcast. Podcast comes out about once a week, depending on how crazy my schedule has gotten.
But they can easily find you. I mean, if they look you up on, what's that?
iTunes.
Is it iTunes?
We're on
Yeah.
iTunes. We're on iTunes, and I think we're actually going to be on Spotify in the near future.
Yeah.
So it's growing. It's helping lawyers figure out how to do their business. A lot of times lawyers will get 15 years into their practice and they're burned out. But the problem is this: they've got a mortgage, they've got a spouse, they've got kids in school, they've got an office, they've got office staff, they've got responsibilities. They can't just kind of pick up and walk away. But now they got to figure out, like, how do I get happy? Because if I don't get happy, I'm going to end up with, probably a substance abuse problem, or maybe some mental health issue, maybe physical issues, all of which are really, really prevalent in the law practice that we are trying to reduce. Because if I can get you happy, we can probably reduce your opportunity and your desire for substance abuse. If I can get you enjoying what you're doing so it's less stressful, probably going to have you stop overeating. If I can get you happier and enjoying what you're doing and lowering your stress, you're not going to have as many physical issues. You don't want to die at 53 of a heart attack just because you're stressed out over your law practice. So let's find a way to do what you want to do and enjoy it and make money at it.
Now, here's another question that lawyers out there might be thinking. Do I have to be, do the different masterminds have, different segments of law, or is it kind of free for all, or what is that process? Does it even matter?
It doesn't really matter. And people get confused with this. Like, why would you want to have 3 family law attorneys in a mastermind group? Well, here's why. Because they will actually end up referring business between themselves. So one divorce lawyer specializes in property issues. How do you deal with the business? One divorce lawyer specializes in child custody issues. One divorce lawyer specializes in domestic violence. So if the domestic violence guy gets a property issue and they're not good at math and finance, they'll send it over to the business guy. Business guy probably doesn't really want to deal with heavy emotions. That's domestic violence. So there's a cross referral that happens even within a practice area because we specialize.
Well, what's nice about that is that also lowers the stress levels just
Totally.
by association.
Totally. By knowing that you've got somebody to refer your clients to, now you've got a bigger bench to rely on, and that's the goal.
Now I'm going to ask some background then. You were practicing law for quite a while. What was your mental shift? When did you decide, I'm shifting out of this and I'm going to come back and give back to people who are in my field that I'm walking, I'm turning from and I'm shifting from? What was that shift that happened that made you do that?
So about 3 years ago, I've been working with this young man that wanted to build a business, and we've been working for about a year trying to develop his business model and find clients, and we were making some great progress. And one morning, it's 5 a.m., and I'm walking my little dog, Dudley, who's this long-haired, black and tan dachshund, who's the floppy ears and the furry feet. And it's 5 in the morning, and he's up doing his business. And I've got court this morning, and I am filled with anxiety. I am stressed out to the point where I am literally bringing up stomach bile before I've even had coffee because I'm tired of dealing with my volcanically angry client, my volcanically angry opposing counsel who just wants to yell at me. We had spent probably 20 hours sitting in a court hallway where I'm just being yelled at, just like a fire hose of anger being sprayed on me, like rah, 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 for hours. And I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. About 2 hours later, I'm driving down the freeway, headed to court. I'm just dreading it. The phone rings. It's my client that I've been working with to build his business. Dave, we got it. We got the contract. And I was like, whoa, that's awesome. Congratulations. We had just landed a 6-figure movie production deal. And I felt this mashup of unbelievable joy on the one hand with this guy against this anxiety and dread of the other. And it was at that moment, driving down the 405 freeway, that I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to help people build their business. I want to help people get happy and be successful and productive. I'm tired of just taking the anger of other people and not being able to help them. And that was the moment of shift for me. where I really said, okay, I'm going to really do it. And that's when I really jumped in and started building out like, okay, where's my focus going to be? I'm going to focus on lawyers. Now it's going to be mid to late career. They're kind of be, 35 plus, probably a little bit burned out, ready to figure out how to do something different with their life. And I applied the things that I've done with my one client, those same principles of figuring out who your best client is, figuring out what makes you happy, how to develop goals, how to find a market, how to develop a market, how to go after a market to get to where you really want to be, specifically to lawyers. And that was the moment for me.
Yeah, you'd rather go to the pleasure side than the avoidance side.
Oh my God.
3 hours of screaming at you,
Yeah.
Is that normal, or is that just someone kind of slightly insane? Is that normal?
It's fairly normal for in my world where I'm dealing with divorces and child custody cases. Because I deal with men in family law. That's my actual legal website is mensfamilylaw.com. So I get a lot of men who are coming to me who are like, I haven't seen my kids in 6 months. How do I do this? How do I fix it? How do I get the court system to pay attention to me?
Okay.
And it's a lot of anger and frustration. So at that particular moment, I had 2 of these clients that were just volcanically angry. I mean, I literally have like 150 text messages in a row in the space of like an hour from one of my clients who's just furiously just texting away. And it's just this constant stream. I'm like, enough. Can't take it. After 20 years, it was like, I need to step away.
I'm glad you did, because you're still here with me.
Yeah, me too.
I wouldn't have met you if you didn't shift, because
That's true.
I would have never been near that world.
Yeah.
See? Good. I'm glad you had that shift. And I'm glad that that happened while you were driving, and I'm glad you're out and finding a new way of life that helps other people, because there's something about helping other people find their shift and helping other people bring a smile to their faces, because you see that spark in their eye when, wow, this is what real living is like. You mean I don't have to be this stressed out? You mean I don't have, this isn't life? No, being that miserable is not living. But to have colleagues and people on your team that are actually rooting with and for you is a whole different world.
And particularly for like, there's a lot of solo and small firm, like 2, maybe 3-person offices. Mm-hmm. If they don't have an outside source to kind of bounce ideas off of, it's hard.
I'm still having problems with the guy screaming at you and all the text messages. I'm like, it's causing me anxiety just to think you had it. So if you're out there and you're a lawyer and you need support, you need someone to talk to and get things through, and is this working? Is what works for you? You need a mastermind of other people who think like you but not like you. Right. I want you to check out the legal mastermind. Go to thelegalmastermind.com. And if you want to listen to David and the advice and the articles that he does write, well, go to that website, but go to the podcast and listen. And that way you can do it in between your trips of your chaos that you're in. And listen to the Legal Mastermind. You can find it on iTunes. And, that way you know what you're going into and say, you know what? I need to get to thelegalmastermind.com and reach out to David and say, you know what, David, I want in one of these masterminds because something has to give, something has to shift. And I need a community of like-minded folks that I can grow with before I crumble. And you know who you are if you're out there. You can feel it. You've seen it in your clients before. Now look at yourself and say, I do need help. I mean, practice what you preach. I mean, when we're out there, as lawyers especially, you're out there telling people how to do things and what to do. Be that voice for yourself and hey, now it's time to look for help, look for assistance. It doesn't make you weak. It makes you stronger, and you know it, to seek a community. Don't do it alone, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And David's a great community because I pretty much hijacked him, and he's been my friend since the day I met him, and I haven't let him go because not only is he brilliant, but he thinks literally like there is no box. He sees things differently than your average human. And that's why when I found out he was a lawyer, it kind of shocked me because he wasn't in a box. Most lawyers I meet are very boxed. and they think
Yeah.
in their world, and you didn't. And so you're kind of like me in the engineering world, where I was in the engineering world and people are like, you kind of talk too much to be an engineer. Yeah. You're like, you're kind of thinking outside of your spam, your
You're a
spiel.
little bit chattier too than most engineers.
Yes, I am. So I mean, I'm not an engineer anymore, but I did find what it is. I've got the power to understand what they do. I've got the knowledge,
Yeah.
but I've got the ability to communicate, which makes me even a stronger bond, because now for the people who don't speak, I can speak for them.
And that's that's a big, very important role, because you end up acting as a guide for both parties.
Yes.
You end up working as a guide for those that know what they know, but they don't know how to communicate it, because you can do the translation and you can go backwards. People who are communicating frequently are using language, but like on the other side, they're like, what the hell are they talking about? And so you've got to be able to do that translation.
You did the same thing in the law world. I mean,
Absolutely.
Because lawyers, you know it, you don't think like other people. You just don't. And that's why we need you. But then you've got someone like David who knows this marketing world very well, and this reaching out to your clients very well. So instead of scaring people away and the whole marketing and how to work a business, I go to him. And I'm not a lawyer. And I go to David and say, okay, this is what's happening. What do I do? How do you, what do you see? And if he can help someone like me who's out, speaking in the world as an international speaker, author, what can he do with a world that he's been there, done it, and in it?
Yeah.
That's his sweet spot. And if he's doing really well outside of his sweet spot, dang, people, you need to get in on this. You would say I am biased, but I'm not. Because when I met you, you were very observant. You saw me sitting alone and you approached me, and then you questioned me about who I was, what I did, why I spoke. I mean, you grilled me.
Right. I did the lawyer thing.
Yeah, you learned.
I want to click down and get right to the important stuff that needs to be heard by people. See, most lawyers have this very boring vanilla presentation. If you look at most of their websites, it'll always be like, Smith, Hunger, and Games. We're the most aggressive lawyers in town.
Everyone says that.
We always return phone calls. Like, okay, you can take that exact same headline and just change out the firm name and it's the same. There's no difference. So if I'm out there trying to find a lawyer, how do I find one that speaks to my needs specifically? And that's what I really specialize in, is helping people find what's the niche that you want to drill into, and then let's go find them. So for me, we did family law. It was generic. Just everybody came in, got a divorce, got custody, domestic violence, whatever. But then I focused in on just the men in family law, and I got a lot of resistance. A lot of people were like, what are you doing? You're walking away from half the market. I'm like, no, I'm not. Nothing says I can't represent a woman. But what ended up happening was the men started hearing my message. And here's a really interesting thing that happens a lot. You know where I get my male clients?
Where?
Mothers and sisters.
Oh, that would make sense.
They start doing research and they're like, you need to talk to this guy. It's hysterical to me. I get phone calls from people all the time, and I'm not even talking to a woman, and I'm like, so what about this case? Well, it's for my boyfriend. Like, okay. So we got the previous girlfriend we're fighting over. But it's that marketing niche, that figuring out exactly who you want to reach, that makes it so much easier to reach them. Mm-hmm. Trying to speak to everybody, you can't reach anybody.
Well, like I talk to my clients about is, you find your avatar, describe your perfect client, who would bring a smile to your face every time you saw them, describe them, see them, be able to, I don't care, see the color of their eyes. I don't care what it is, but you make it so clear who that avatar is. And that's the one you speak to. Once you speak to that one person, everyone who relates to that avatar is your client. And you draw them like magnets, because you're talking personally to them.
Exactly.
It's magical. Guess who I learned that from?
Gonna guess Gary Barnes?
No.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, it's definitely you. And it's funny because when you hear something so often, and it goes around all over the place, you hear the same message over and over, but a very particular person says it, you're like, oh my gosh, yeah.
Right.
So like I have heard through my entire career, speak to your avatar. Yeah, yeah, I am. Yeah, yeah, I am. And one day I'm driving down the street with David. He is, well, what's your avatar? Who's your avatar? And I went, oh, it's da 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 da. He is, are you talking to him? I do. Oh no, I'm not. And so it has something to do with who's saying it. And that's the other important thing about a mastermind. So if you want to do dun da da, I've got this, you know, I can charge on my own. I'm telling you, even those of us who coach other people in their businesses, it takes another coach to see it. And so with us, with the mastermind, it takes multiple minds to do, you know what about this little niche? Well, what about this little hole that you're missing? You know, in my business, I missed this little hole, and when I did this, that happened. Oh my gosh. So these outside views are incredibly important, because you are missing, I promise you, you are missing things because you're so focused on your job that you're not seeing the rest of the picture. Unfortunately, all your clients are looking at the rest of the picture.
Yeah.
You've got to get that picture done, and that call out to that avatar perfect, or close to perfect, so that you can start attracting the people who don't stress the hell out of you. I mean, basically, because
Right.
and that's what causes a lot of the stress, is you're working outside of your zone, out of your sweet spot, and you're double taking, trying to make everything else work. Well, if you knew what it was, then you can focus better on what you're supposed to be doing, and then allocate the other things, or, you know, cross-pollinate with other lawyers who are in the same spot doing, you know, I'm really good at that. Well, I'm really good at that. So
Absolutely. You know, that there's a book called The Big Leap by a man whose name is Gay Hendricks, Hendricks. And it's all about finding your zone of genius and what are you really best at, and then making the leap to focus on that.
what is it called? The
Big Leap
Big Leap by
by
Gabe
Gay
Hendricks.
Hendricks. Gay, like Gay.
Mm-hmm.
Hendricks. And it's maybe, I don't know, 300 pages. It's a pretty quick read, but it's all about figuring out, like, how do you not just figure out the avatar, but what are you best at? So like, I may be really, really good at dealing with this particular person, but I'm phenomenal when I deal with this. And then having the courage and finding the fortitude to focus just on that and get really into your zone of genius. It's a really wonderful book. I highly recommend for anybody who's trying to figure out what they want to do with their life when they grow up.
Jay Hendricks, The Big Leap. No, and I'm a big advocate of really getting to know yourself so well that you accept your weaknesses, and make sure they're real weaknesses, not, you know, inner critic weaknesses, but a real, you know, can I improve this, or can I not? No, I really don't like that. It's not really in my house, you know, but this I'm amazing at. And what we've done as a society is we tend to focus on what we're not good at and work harder at it, trying to make it work, and letting what we're really good at slack. And what I teach my clients are, understand what you're not that great at, focus on what you're really good at, and become the best there is at that. And then if it's not something you can like get a certificate and get better at, or if it costs, you know, too many brain bites to do it, you allocate. And ever since I've done that, my business has skyrocketed, because what am I good at?
Right.
Talking. I mean, I'm very good at influencing, talking, and inspiring. As long as I stay on that, I'm much better. I used to build my own website. Had to bring someone else in who's really good at it. And what I took years to build, I think she did it in 3 days. Rebuilt it in 3
Because
days.
she's operating in her zone of genius.
Yes.
It's like, I could put you up on stage right now in front of 50,000 people and be like, Michelle, go talk about Albanian dog law. And you'd be like, okay, done. No idea what you're talking about, but you'll be fine.
It's magical when you go to what you're very, very good at, and then allow everything else to kind of fall into place. because if you're in your genius, you're in your genius. I mean, you know, a lot of us, like I know David the same way, we're good at a lot of things. I mean, you can put almost anything in front of us and we'll be above average in pretty much most of it.
Yeah.
But what's
But
our
I'm great at just a few things.
Yeah.
And that's what I need to focus on.
Yeah. Focus on what you are like. Dang, I don't even have to think about it. That's
Exactly.
the thing you got to do. And
the hard part for a lot of us, and this is it's almost a self-esteem issue, but it's really a mindset issue. I'm so good at it. It's so easy. I don't want to get paid for it.
Exactly. Oh my gosh. Yes, you hit that. It's like, but I can do this like in my sleep. I mean, that would be wrong. No.
Right.
What you think is so ordinary is what's extraordinary about you. And well, you know that with my story is I refused to get on stage for many years because anyone can talk. I mean, I just talk. I'm just good at it.
Yeah.
Not realizing that it's a gift and that I should embrace it. So if you're listening, what are you doing? What is your gift? What brought you in the law in the first place? What was that passion and what set you on fire and made you smile? I'm going in this field because this is what I'm going to do. Are you doing it? Or did you get lost in the shuffle? Something.
Yeah, a lot of people get lost.
Mm-hmm. I know. I can only go back to my own personal thing. Is I thought I could, uplift the world and help people find their better place by working in politics. And so writing speeches for politicians, and I don't know what I was thinking, but I thought that was it.
Yeah.
What I did was, no, I wasn't speaking. I was writing for other people, and it's different. And so, like you, driving down the street one day, well, I got hit by a car, but I got.
Yeah, I think I'll pass on the car accident part of that.
But what it did is it made me realize of all the things I couldn't do anymore that I used to work very hard at maintaining. The thing that stayed with me was my ability to inspire, lift, and tell a story without depressing people. And it was some weird little niche that I kept. And it was like, that's what I've got, then that's what I'm focusing on. Let's drop all this other stuff. It's still important, but let me find other people to do math for me because I can't remember, or other people to, track all the different amendments because it's gone, that kind of thing. And I focused. And now I'm in a whole new world. Who are you? What did you start doing and why? Where's your passion? And are you still on track for it? And do you find yourself wishing you had some sort of community that you could trust, who understood where you were, that you could talk to? Because think of all the people you meet that are outside of the lawyer world, and you start talking and their eyes glaze over and they just don't understand the stress and the pressure that you were going through. Legal mastermind is where you want to be. And in this socially distanced world, it's a Zoom call away.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter where you are. So my listeners, no matter where you are, David is in California, okay? So Pacific time is what everything's based off of, but you can attend from anywhere in the world. So don't let that hold you back.
Thank you, Michelle.
You're welcome. If you have just listened and you're like, who in the world is Michelle talking to today? I'm talking to David Pisarra. He is a friend of mine from out in California. He is a recovering lawyer. And if you want to learn more about his mastermind and the things he does in order to help other lawyers through basically being a business and staying in business, because in law school, you're taught law and not how to run the business. And so David's been there, done that, and helps and guides and hosts these masterminds so that you can all get together and grow your businesses to the status of where you want them to be, so you can be successful and still help people like you wanted to in the first place. Go to www.thelegalmastermind.com and listen to the podcast. It's also on iTunes and probably Spotify by now, The Legal Mastermind. And if you want to write David, it's David, David, at, he makes it easy, thelegalmastermind.com. And check up on him because he writes some amazing articles, and I'm always liking them and stuff on LinkedIn for sure. But, find him and, tap on his brain, because he's got a big brain and he's got a big heart, and he knows what he's talking about because I use him all the time. That's why I call him my friend. I just pulled him and made him my friend. He kicked and screamed and said, please, no, no, but that's how it is. David, I'd like to say thank you for coming on the show with me.
Oh, my pleasure, Michelle. Anytime. It's always wonderful to chat with you.
I'm not letting you go when we end this. I'm going to keep talking to you. So just FYI that.
Okay.
I really do miss you, and that I'm so glad that you've got this mastermind out and that you're helping more people from outside of just your circle in LA, that you're reaching beyond. And honestly, I think COVID helped, because now you have people coming from everywhere. And I think that community of minds from different different states and genres and regions, people are different, and
Yeah,
that you can share that kind of knowledge and reach through time zones.
absolutely. And one of the things is that it's the sense of camaraderie of people getting to know each other, because as lawyers, so often we're very isolated. We live in our little like bunkers of like my case versus your case, and being able to have somebody to share with what's really going on is crucial to being happy and fulfilled and enjoying what you're doing.
Indeed. Do you have any lasting words that you want to leave the listeners to think about?
I think the biggest thing is if you remember that whenever you're going through a really tough time, which a lot of us are these days, it passes. And if you have to find a way to make time pass and just get through it. And remember that a cheeseburger and a chocolate shake will get you through just about everything.
That's terrible advice.
It's great advice. It's great advice. Take a break. Go get some food. It'll be okay. You're going to be fine.
Yeah, breathe a little bit. Listen to some good music. Get some good tunes on. Drink a milkshake in the parking lot. Come back.
Exactly.
Okay, David, that's awesome. Thank you so much. I just have an envision of a whole bunch of lawyers sitting outside their cars with a milkshake, listening to music and a cheeseburger, and doing, oh no, that David Pisarra, he made me gain 20 pounds during.
Yeah, but if they got their mental health back, it's worth it.
That is true. Okay, there it is. There's a balance, mental health and bad eating. Okay. I will not digress and start talking about something else. So we're running out of time. But seriously, folks, go find David Pisarra at www.thelegalmastermind.com. Listen to his podcast, because he is quite he's quite the brain. Honestly, he is. And the podcast is also The Legal Mastermind. And you need an outside thinker, and the mastermind would be a great place for you to go. And if you want to write David directly, like I said, David at thelegalmastermind.com. Have a great week, everyone. And thank you, David, for joining me.
Thank you, Michelle.
Ta-ta, everybody.